My name is Janis Lueken. I'm 89 years old now. For the past 12 years, I've been pretty fascinated with teaching people how to breathe. And that's such a subtle little area that it's often a surprise to people. And so it's been difficult to market. I have just recently moved to this area. So I was in a place where I wanted to continue my online work with Buteyko breathing, as well as attract a group of people here in this small town. One day I saw Chen Yen speaking online. It might have been a Facebook or something. It was kind of casual. And I was quite fascinated to hear her. At that time, that maybe 2 years ago, I'm not even sure now, but I took a time out and sat and listened, and I found that I thought I would like to work with her. And I'm not sure from that moment on how long it was until I had the opportunity. Right now, I've just finished a 6-figure mentorship program with Chen. A long time I've done something that at first I called it Aston patterning movement and body work and training people to understand how to use their bodies well and to become much more aware. It's very beautiful structural work, and I love doing that. I did find the breathing kind of accidentally, and during that breathing time where I took a Buteyko breathing class, I discovered that I was extremely anxious, which I had somehow not noticed before, and that the breathing was just an amazing, useful way to help me deal with the anxiety symptoms that I had felt. So when I found out about working with Chen, I took a couple of smaller courses, and then I wanted to learn how to speak, to give talks and inform people about the Buteyko. I've done a number of things. I guess my first wasn't a job really, but I was in my 20s still, and I auditioned for the symphony in San Diego, California, where I lived, and became a member. And I played in that orchestra for about 15 years. And then during that time, I had stopped going to college. I returned and got a teaching credential, and I've taught school for 8 years. So I've had several lifetimes, really. And I've done many other kinds of holistic work.
What was the most frustrating thing about your business back then before the mentorship?
Each time I was going to give a talk, I would try to think of something that might be interesting to talk about. And I tried a few things, and it kind of turned out to be more something I was interested in and had nothing really logically to do with why people might have come to the talk. And I was very frustrated with that. And Chen kept talking about the idea that you would have an ideal way of talking about your passionate program that you were wanting people to know about. So that was, a real important invitation to be able and want to work with her.
So what were you feeling when you decided to be a part of the 6-figure speaking makeover mentorship for introverts? Any hesitation?
Yes, I think I did because of my recent move and my age and way of life right now would be a good time for me to retire. And so it was hard for me to begin to get interested. The courses involved a lot of commitment, even now.
You're amazing, 89 and still with this passion and desire to help people with this. So what's changed for you?
Yesterday, I returned from the West Coast where I took a class, and I had arranged for someone to pick me up and drive me. It's a 2-hour drive from the airport. And the woman was curious about it and what I'd gone there to do. At first I said, well, it's too hard to tell you. I thought she was just being polite. And somehow along the way, in 2 hours, I started talking about the breathing, and she was so excited. She has 5 children, and they're mostly from 11 to 20 or something. And she said that one of her children, right at that moment, was at the therapist for because he was so anxious and troubled. She wanted right away to find out how I might help, because breathing work can help anything that's involved with stress. And
That's awesome. So it went from a conversation where you weren't really sure she was even really all that interested and being polite to where she actually said, wow, that could really help. So that's fantastic.
This morning, I sent her an email and offered 1 hour meeting with the children. And then I told her that if any or all were interested, we would make a class. And I told her the value of, for one person to take the information they would need to do. But I thought a group might work well for her. So it's undecided yet, but she wrote back. She was very excited. So she wanted to arrange that. So
good. Fantastic. What are some other things that have opened up for you?
I've lately started to enjoy because I'm very anxious. A lot of times I was almost overcome with nervousness as the time to give the talk approached. So the last 2 times I've done a talk, I was totally comfortable and much more engaged and able to really one of the things that I've learned is to be sensitive as to what those who are attending are interested, why they came, what it is that they want to know, and to address that, and to find ways, even things that I might not have been planning to talk about, to bring to their attention. So that I think that's probably one of the most important things that I've learned in the 6-figure mentorship program that I've participated in.
And how did this transform your talks or with your attempts at reaching out to doctors?
I feel much more able now to go to a strange office and open up the space with the person and go ahead and see if I can arrange to have a meeting with the doctor or the other people in the office. Recently, I made arrangements at a facility where it's the 2 top quality hearing aids, and they have a staff of, I think, 5 people. And I really just proposed the one person that I was dealing with. And right now we've scheduled for the whole staff to find out about it. So I'll do more things like that.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's really wonderful. Tell us about some talks that you've done so far.
In March, I put together a talk on allergies. Most people would have a very set attitude about how they dealt with their allergy, and that was really the only way that they could be helped. But I gave that talk several times, and it was useful to this area. I've been talking now more about panic and how anxiety plus overbreathing or hyperventilating leads often to panic attacks. So that's currently what I'm talking about. And earlier, after I just moved here, I talked about sleep and how breathing can help people who are struggling with sleep difficulties, insomnia, or, the most difficult sleep problem is sleep apnea, which is challenging to deal with. And I found many people are astounded that something might be done about that. So I'll probably work on that one again, the sleep apnea.
What did you enjoy most about the mentorship experience?
The thing that I liked about it started in a rather simple approach, but developed very logically, so that as we completed the program, it was obvious that we'd been building to become more able to know what we were doing and why we were doing it, and how to work with the problems of marketing our work. I have some thoughts that I may do more because of my age and wanting to stay relaxed about it. I think I've maybe moved more slowly than some people, but I really want to enjoy myself as I'm doing things. So I keep that in mind.
What was it like to have the templates and scripts?
Oh, that was excellent.